Have you ever heard of a forbidden prayer? A prayer said to be so powerful that it was once hidden from the world because people feared that if everyone knew it, it could shake the destiny of humanity. They called it the Forbidden Lord's Prayer. And today, somehow, you're here, about to hear about it. I don't believe this is a coincidence. I believe there is a reason you are hearing these words. Maybe you're in a small apartment somewhere in California. Maybe you're sitting in your car on your way to work in Texas, or listening in a quiet room in Florida. Wherever you are in the United States, if your heart feels tired, pressured, stuck, then this video, these words, are meant for you. Because maybe, somewhere deep inside, you are carrying a question you haven't dared to speak aloud. God, is there any other path for me? Life in America looks bright with lights. Wide roads, tall buildings, nice cars. Everyone seems busy, successful, with full meals and stable bank accounts. But you know that behind the smiles, many hearts are exhausted. Maybe you are, fighting credit card debt, worried about rent, insurance, car payments, struggling with bills that come like clockwork even though you work non-stop. Every month, you look at your bank balance and just sigh. You think, I've come to America. I've tried so hard. Why is it still like this? You pretend to be fine with everyone, still smiling, still talking, still answering. I'm good, I'm fine. But inside, you know you're not fine at all. At night, when the lights are off, when it's just you, the ceiling, and your thoughts, you ask, God, do you see me? Am I forgotten? Are my prayers even heard? I understand, because I have stood exactly where you are. I know the feeling of looking at emails but afraid to open them because they might be bills. Hearing the phone ring and your heart pounding because you think it might be a debt collector. Working while silently praying. Just enough for this month. God, please. I used to pray, but honestly, inside, I still doubted. I don't know if anything will change. Probably nothing. Until one day, when I was almost giving up, a friend in Houston sent me a recording. He simply said, "This prayer is not like normal prayers. People used to hide it because it touches the purest faith. If you read it every day with true belief, you will start to see miracles." Honestly, I didn't believe it. When I heard forbidden prayer, I immediately thought it was hype, clickbait, or just exaggerated to attract attention. But then I looked at my life. I was in debt. I was exhausted. I was praying, but my hope was fading. I thought, what do I have to lose? At worst, I'm still as poor as I am now. So, let's try. That night, I turned off all the lights and made the room completely still. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, as if trying to truly be present with God in that moment. Then I began to read, sentence by sentence, word by word, slowly, and the moment the first lines came out of my mouth, a very strange feeling filled my heart. Not chills, not fear, but something light, warm, peaceful, like someone gently placed a hand on my shoulder and said, I am here. I didn't see angels appear, didn't hear thunder, no light on the ceiling, but my heart fell quiet. For the first time in a long time, my mind stopped being noisy. The next morning, when I opened my phone, I saw an email. A company I had applied to long ago and thought they had forgotten suddenly sent an interview invitation. A week later, I received a tax refund. I had forgotten I even filed. The money came exactly when I needed it most. Nothing became perfect overnight. But from that moment, my life began to shift. The doors that had been shut tight were no longer sealed. Small doors began to open. I realized, this prayer isn't a magic spell. It's a key that awakened the faith that had been asleep in me. From that day forward, I saw everything differently. I no longer prayed only with my mouth. I prayed with my heart. I stopped saying, God, please help me in fear, and started saying, God, I believe you are helping me. When you start truly believing, everything around you begins to shift, not because the prayer is magical, but because your heart is placed back in the right position the position of a child who knows they have a father. Maybe right now, as you listen to me tell this, a part of you still doubts. I've prayed so many times. Nothing changed. I understand. I said the same thing. But maybe the problem isn't the prayer, but the way we believe. We say, God, help me get out of debt. Bless me with a better job. But deep inside we whisper, probably nothing will happen. Nobody pays attention to me. That tiny seed of doubt blocks the flow of miracles, not because God is weak, but because our heart isn't fully open. The forbidden Lord's Prayer that you'll hear in the next parts is not just something to read. It is like a declaration that you believe God is still working, that you believe you are not abandoned, that you believe your finances, your job, your family, your soul can be restored. You don't need to understand all theology or live perfectly. You only need one thing, a heart willing to open and say, I believe. And before we go deeper into this prayer in the next parts, I want to invite you to do something small, yet it can change so much in your faith journey. If what you are hearing touches your heart, if you feel yourself being pulled closer to God, I invite you to subscribe to the Daily Jesus Message channel. Not because it's my channel, but because I don't want you to walk alone. Every day, on Daily Jesus Message, we pray together, hear God's word, and are reminded that in this busy and stressful America, God is still performing miracles. When you subscribe, you're not just following a YouTube channel. You are stepping into a faith family where people pray for each other, support each other, and walk together through difficult seasons. Maybe at this very moment, God is gently knocking on your heart and saying, I'm using this video to call you. Don't walk alone anymore. Come back to me. If you feel even a small stirring, a bit of warmth, a tiny spark of hope, don't ignore it. Respond. Subscribe to the channel so that each day, when life tries to drag you back into worry, fear, debt, disappointment, you will have a place to return to, a voice reminding you, faith still lives, miracles are still happening, and you are still loved. This is only the first part. In the next parts, we will go deeper into the secret of the forbidden Lord's Prayer, how to read it, how to believe, and how to see real transformation in your finances, job, and soul. But right now, just remember one thing. You are not here by accident. You were led here, and your new journey in faith, freedom, abundance, and peace begins at this moment. There are ordinary prayers recited every day out of habit, but there are also prayers that lie beyond human understanding, prayers that carry energy, power, and the ability to touch the deepest layers of the spirit. The forbidden Lord's Prayer is one of these. The ancients believed it was not merely a prayer. It was a door, a pathway, a key that allowed people to connect directly with a source of blessing they had long stood outside of, unaware of how to enter. This prayer was once found in ancient manuscripts. Manuscripts believed to have been stored away, hidden, because its power exceeded the understanding of its time. And what is even more unusual is that you are here, right now, about to hear about it. That means you are ready, not intellectually ready, but spiritually ready. Your heart is in need of healing, of opening, of being guided into a new journey. Ask yourself, have you ever felt as though something invisible was holding you back? As if every time you try to move forward, there is a force pulling you back. You apply for jobs everywhere, yet no one calls you. You work harder, yet money is always short. You try to change, yet everything seems to circle back to the same place. People call these invisible barriers, unseen, but deeply felt. No one can point them out, but you know they exist. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's doubt, sometimes it's old wounds that make you stop believing in the blessings meant for you. These barriers do not come from God. They come from within ourselves, and that is why we need a prayer powerful enough to break through those limitations, a prayer like an arrow piercing through the darkness, opening a path you could not see before. The forbidden Lord's Prayer is meant to do exactly that. But for this prayer to reach you, you cannot listen only with your ears. You must listen with your heart, because if you hear it as just another story, it remains only sound. But if you hear it with your heart, it becomes energy. That energy will find the places in your life that are dark, stuck, and in need of light. Before you hear that prayer, I want you to prepare for what is coming, because when you listen with trust, everything can change very quickly. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine before you a large golden door. That door represents all the good things you've ever wanted in your life. Opportunities, work, finances, health, peace. Things you once believed could happen, but lost hope in because life became too difficult. You look at that door and think it has been locked for a long time. But the truth is, it was never locked. It has only been waiting for you to place your hand on it and gently push. The Forbidden Lord's Prayer is that gentle push. When you speak it with faith, it opens the door. It doesn't create miracles out of nothing. It opens the way for miracles that have already been prepared for you. I know this because I have experienced it. But the most important thing I want you to understand is this. The prayer itself does not change your life. It is the faith you place in the prayer that does. One person can recite hundreds of prayers but believe in none of them. Another person may speak only one sentence with deep trust, and their life transforms. God does not look at the quantity of your words. He looks at your heart. I once knew a woman living in Dallas. For 3 years, she searched for a job but couldn't find one. Debt piled up. Her family was tense. Every day she questioned whether life had any meaning left. By chance, she heard this prayer. She didn't understand much, but she believed. She recited it every night, missing no day. And on the 7th day, she received her first interview call in months. A month later, she got a better job than she had ever hoped for. Her father asked, "What changed your life?" She simply replied, "I found my faith again." That is what I want you to feel in this part. Not the miracle of the prayer itself, but the power of faith it awakens in you. As you listen to me now, you may feel something very small moving inside your heart. A little hope, a little peace, a little trust in something you thought you could no longer believe in. That is the first sign, a sign that your spirit is opening again, a sign that you are ready to step into the deeper part of this journey. But before we go there, I want you to do one small thing. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the beating of your heart. That is not just a heartbeat. It is God's reminder that He has kept you alive until today, because He still has something for you. Every beat is His voice. I am still here. I have never left you. I have prepared something good. You only need to open your heart to receive it. And if you want to continue this journey every day, if you want to keep your heart in peace, if you want to be reminded that God is working in your life, I invite you to subscribe to the Daily Jesus Message channel. This is not an advertisement. This is an invitation for your very soul, a place where each day you are nourished with faith, prayer, and new hope. You do not have to walk this journey alone. You do not have to struggle through life in America with empty hands. God placed you in this community so you could be lifted up. Part 2 ends here. Prepare for the next part, where you will hear the prayer many believe was once hidden because its power was too great. If you open your heart, if you believe, your journey will begin to change. Have you ever felt as if something invisible was holding you back, no matter how hard you tried? As if there were walls around your life that you could not see, yet they kept you trapped in the same place year after year. You work, you pray, you hope, but somehow nothing seems to move. Your finances stay the same. Opportunities slip through your fingers. Doors that should have opened remain closed. You try to stay positive, but deep down, you wonder why your life feels stuck. If you have ever felt that way, then what you are about to hear may be exactly what your soul has been waiting for, because there is a prayer, ancient and powerful, that was hidden away for generations. Some say it was kept secret because its power was too strong for people to use without understanding. Others say it was forbidden because it gives the believer direct access to divine manifestation, a kind of spiritual alignment that calls heaven into the physical world. They called it the Forbidden Lord's Prayer. When I first heard about it, I reacted as you probably would. I thought it was exaggerated, maybe a myth, maybe something created to draw attention. After all, how could a prayer be forbidden? Why would anyone hide a prayer? But as I listened more carefully, I realized this was not just another religious phrase. This was a message carved into time, a prayer with the ability to awaken something deep within the soul. This prayer does not work by forcing miracles to appear out of nowhere. It works by shifting you into alignment with the blessings already assigned to your life. It changes the way you think, the way you speak, the way your heart receives. And when your heart changes, everything around you begins to change too. People who have recited this prayer for 7 days straight have shared stories that sound impossible, yet they happened. A man drowning in debt received an unexpected payment that cleared his bills. A woman who had searched for work for months suddenly received a job offer she never imagined. Others simply felt peace for the first time in years. And one thing becomes clear in every story. The prayer did not create the miracle. It awakened the faith that makes miracles possible. Before we go deeper, I want you to understand something essential. This is not magic. This is not superstition. This is not about manipulating the universe. This is about aligning yourself with God's will, God's timing, and God's abundance. When you speak these words, you are not begging heaven to help you. You are declaring that you are ready to receive what has already been prepared for you. But you cannot speak this prayer with fear in your heart. You cannot whisper it while doubting that anything will change. You must let go of the belief that your blessings are distant or unreachable. Because the truth is, blessings were never far from you. You simply were not positioned to receive them. Faith is the position that unlocks the door. Before I share the prayer with you, I want you to prepare your heart. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing before a door made of pure light. This door represents every answered prayer, every opportunity, every moment of peace, every breakthrough you have ever dreamed of. You may have been knocking on this door for years, thinking it was locked, thinking God had forgotten you. But today, as you stand before it, you will see that the lock was never there. The door has been waiting for your faith. Take a slow breath in. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of the day loosen its grip. Let go of the worry about bills, the fear about work, the anxiety about the future. You do not need those thoughts for what comes next. All you need is openness. Now imagine that the door slowly begins to open. A soft light spills out, warm and gentle, touching your face, your heart, your spirit. That light is peace. That light is provision. That light is the beginning of change. You are not imagining it. You are experiencing the first shift of alignment. Because once you speak this prayer with faith, the spiritual realm begins to move. Now, with your heart open, let us begin the forbidden Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in every place, holy be your name in my life and in my path. Let your kingdom of prosperity and abundance come to me. Let your divine will of provision be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my bread in plenty. Forgive me for every moment I doubted your provision, just as I forgive those who tried to block my blessing. Do not let me fall into the temptation of fear or lack, but deliver me from every spiritual and financial barrier, for yours is the power, the glory, and the abundance forever. Amen. Pause. Do not rush away from this moment. Let the words echo inside you. Let the feeling settle in your chest. If something stirred in you, even the smallest warmth or calm, that is not coincidence. That is the presence of God responding to your faith. That is your spirit awakening. Because the real secret of this prayer is not in the words themselves. It is in the intention behind them. When you speak with belief, you are changing the frequency of your life. You shift from fear to trust, from lack to expectation, from survival to abundance. You no longer pray as someone begging for a blessing. You pray as someone receiving it. Some people pray once and then fall back into fear. They let doubt steal what faith began. But those who see miracles are the ones who stay consistent. They speak the prayer each day for 7 days. They speak it with conviction, not desperation. And as they do, their inner world changes first. Then their outer world follows. I once received a message from a woman in California who tried this prayer when her finances were collapsing. She said the first few days felt strange. as if nothing was happening. But on the seventh day, she woke up with a peace she could not explain. Not long after, opportunities began to appear, not through magic, but through clarity. She made one phone call she had been afraid to make. That call led to a new job. That job led to stability. And it all began with the moment her fear dissolved. That is the power of alignment. The prayer does not change your destiny. It changes your posture. And when your posture aligns with God, destiny unfolds with ease. If you feel something shifting inside you now, take it seriously. This is not hype. This is not a moment meant to be ignored. This is the sign you asked for in your quiet moments. But I want to give you one more instruction before we move forward. When you finish this message, do not simply walk away. Take a few minutes in silence. Let the energy settle. Let peace rise again. This will prepare you for what comes next. And if your spirit is telling you to continue this journey, do not stop here. Stay connected. Stay grounded. Stay close to the messages that feed your faith. This is why I gently invite you to subscribe to Daily Jesus Message. Not because it is a channel, but because it is a family of believers walking through the same storms, receiving the same peace, searching for the same God. Every day you will receive guidance, prayers, and words that strengthen you. And the more you surround yourself with faith, the more miracles will unfold in your life. Part 3 ends here. Prepare yourself, because in the next part, you will not only understand the prayer, you will understand why destiny begins to shift the moment you speak it. Something changed the moment you spoke the prayer. You may not see it clearly yet, but the atmosphere around your life is no longer the same. Something invisible, something quiet, something holy has begun to move in your favor. It does not matter if your circumstances still look the same. It does not matter if your bank account has not changed. When faith is activated, the shift begins in the unseen world, long before it appears in the physical. For years, you may have been pushing, striving, working, trying to make things happen by your own strength. You tried to fix every problem, open every door, fight every battle alone. You carried burdens that were too heavy, but you carried them anyway because you felt you had no other choice. You whispered prayers at night, but doubted them by morning. You hoped for better days but expected more hardship. You learned to survive, not to live. But the moment you spoke the forbidden Lord's Prayer, something broke open. Not outwardly, but inwardly. The weight started to loosen. The pressure began to lift. A quiet peace began to wrap around your spirit like a warm blanket after a long storm. You may not fully understand it yet, but you can feel it. Something is different now. This is how faith works. Not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily, like the first light of morning, creeping gently into a dark room. Not outwardly, you only realize that somehow the light is already here, and yet the pressure began to lift. But the moment you spoke the forbidden Lord's Prayer, they feel something shift. Then they return to doubt, to fear, to the noise of the world. They forget the peace they felt. They forget the presence that met them. They let the world drown out what heaven started. They let old fears cancel new faith. But faith is not a moment. Faith is a practice. Faith is not something you feel once. It is something you choose every day, especially on the days when nothing seems to change, especially on the days when fear whispers louder than hope, especially on the days when you feel alone. This is why I want to ask you a question. What if the miracle you have been waiting for is already on its way, but it is waiting for your consistency? What if the difference between an unanswered prayer and a manifested one is not God's delay, but your hesitation to keep believing? For the next 7 days, hold on to faith like it is air. Speak the forbidden Lord's Prayer once every day. Do not rush through it. Let each word touch you. Let each sentence settle into your heart. Let each line become a declaration of who you are becoming. When you wake up, say it. When you lie down at night, say it. When fear tries to speak, say it again. Because repetition is not empty. Repetition is power. Every time you repeat the prayer, you reinforce your alignment with abundance. Every time you speak it, you are declaring to the universe, to heaven and to your own soul. I am ready to receive, and I promise you this: if you truly commit, something in you will change first, and then everything around you will follow. Let me tell you a story. A few months ago, a man from Florida reached out after hearing this prayer. He was a single father, working 2 jobs, barely staying afloat. He said he prayed it every night for 7 days. On the 3rd day, nothing happened. On the 4th day, he started to doubt. But on the 5th day, something inside him urged him to continue. On the 6th day, he woke up with a sense of peace he had not felt in years. Not a miracle in his bank account, not a sudden blessing, but peace. And that peace gave him clarity. With that clarity, he made one phone call he had been avoiding for months. That call opened a door to a new business opportunity, and within 2 weeks, his entire situation shifted. When he wrote back to me, he said, "The prayer did not give me money. It gave me faith again, and faith opened the door." That is what happens when you hold on long enough for heaven to move. The universe responds to consistency. God responds to faithfulness. Breakthrough responds to perseverance. So as you move through this 7-day journey, remember this truth. Faith is not a feeling. It is a decision. You do not have to feel strong. You only have to choose to believe. There will be days when fear whispers, "Nothing is happening. You are wasting your time. This prayer does not work." When that voice comes, do not argue with it. Do not fight it. Simply speak the prayer again. Speak it softly, but speak it with certainty. Every time you choose faith over fear, you win a battle in the unseen realm. And soon your reality begins to shift. You will notice small signs first. A conversation that opens a new opportunity. A bill that gets delayed. A person who offers unexpected help. A message that arrives at just the right moment. These things are not coincidence. They are confirmation. They are heaven's way of saying, "Keep going. You are on the right path." When these signs appear, whisper a simple thank you. Gratitude multiplies blessings. The more grateful you are, the faster abundance flows toward you. So here is your practice for the next 7 days. Each morning, say the prayer. Each night, write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small. If you woke up today, be grateful. If you had food, be grateful. If you are breathing, be grateful. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and turns what you desire into reality. And do not walk this journey alone. Share this prayer with someone you love, someone who is struggling, someone who feels lost. When 2 people agree in faith, miracles multiply. If you feel something moving inside you right now, a warmth, a calm, a quiet knowing, do not ignore it. That feeling is confirmation. That is God whispering, "Yes, this message is for you. Take this seriously, because if you truly commit to these 7 days, you will not be the same person you are now. Your thoughts will become lighter. Your spirit will become stronger. Your path will become clearer, and your life will begin to align with peace and abundance." But remember, this prayer is not a magic formula. It is a partnership. You pray, and then you act. When opportunity comes, open the door. When an idea arrives, follow it. When a nudge comes, obey it, because faith without movement is only half alive. Every time you step forward in faith, heaven steps forward with you. And if you want to continue this journey without losing momentum, stay connected. Follow the messages that feed your spirit, the prayers that lift you, the words that remind you of who you are. This is why I invite you to subscribe to Daily Jesus Message, not for numbers, not for popularity, but for your soul. Every day you will receive strength, guidance, and spiritual nourishment. Every day your faith will grow. Every day your heart will remember that miracles still happen. Part 4 ends here. When you are ready, we will continue with Part 5, where you will discover what happens when the impossible begins to move in your life. Have you ever woken up one morning and sensed something different in the air? You cannot explain it. You cannot point to anything specific. But the heaviness that once pressed against your chest is no longer there. The worries that used to keep you awake at night suddenly seem smaller. Your breathing feels easier. Your mind feels clearer. Something inside you whispers, quietly but unmistakably, something is beginning to change. That feeling is not random. It is the first sign that faith has taken root, because the moment you decided to believe, even before anything changed on the outside, the impossible began to shift on the inside. Heaven heard your prayer the first time you spoke it. But what is happening now is not the creation of blessings. It is the alignment of timing. Everything meant for you is finding its way back. Maybe for days, months, or even years. You felt stuck financially, stuck emotionally, stuck spiritually. You may have prayed, worked hard, tried your best, and still felt as if nothing moved. It felt like the heavens were silent. It felt like the world was against you. It felt like no matter how much you tried, life would not give you a break. But faith does not always show itself through instant change. Sometimes faith hides behind silence, testing how long you are willing to keep believing when you see no progress at all. Because it is in that silence, not in the noise, that miracles begin. Many people expect miracles to explode into their lives overnight. They want sudden breakthroughs, sudden money, sudden transformation. But the truth is, the greatest miracles begin gently, quietly, almost invisibly. They start as a shift in your energy, a change in your attitude, a softening of your heart. The first miracle is not in your bank account. It is in your spirit. That shift is happening to you right now. You may not be fully aware of it, but your thoughts are already changing. You are beginning to speak differently. You are starting to hope again. You are breathing with a little more peace. You are waking up with a sense of possibility instead of dread. This inner change is the seed of transformation. Think of it like a plant growing underground. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. You cannot measure its progress. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is building, and life is preparing to break through. The same thing is happening in your life. What looks like nothing is actually preparation. In the days ahead, pay attention to the small whispers around you. Do not look for fireworks. Look for subtle shifts. Maybe you will receive a message from someone you have not heard from in years. Maybe a new job posting will appear right when you needed it. Maybe you will remember an idea you once pushed aside because you believed it was impossible. These are not coincidences. They are signs that heaven is rearranging your path. Faith has a rhythm. You believe, and the world adjusts. Not all at once, but step by step. There was a woman from California who once shared her story with me. She completed the 7-day prayer journey, expecting a financial miracle. She did not win the lottery. She did not suddenly become wealthy. But she woke up every morning with peace she had not felt in years. On the 7th day, she told me, I could finally breathe again. 2 weeks later, out of nowhere, a job offer came to her that she had not even applied for. When she asked the hiring manager how they found her, he told her, your name came up in a meeting. We felt you were the right person. She said, that is when I realized the prayer did not change my circumstances first. It changed me first. And once I changed, everything else followed. That is how the impossible moves, not through force, but through alignment. You do not have to chase blessings. You attract them when your spirit aligns with who you are meant to be. Faith does not pull miracles from heaven. Faith tunes your heart to the frequency where miracles already exist. When you say the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you adjust the dial of your life. The station was always broadcasting, but now you are finally hearing it clearly. If you are reading this right now, you have already done something many people never do. You have stayed. You have believed. You have opened your heart again. That alone has already set miracles in motion. But now comes the most important part, keeping the momentum. Faith without consistency fades. It is like fire without wood. It burns brightly for a moment, but weakens if you do not continue to feed it. This is why you must keep speaking the prayer, even after the 7 days. Let it become part of your rhythm. Let it become your morning light. Let it become your nightly comfort. Not because the prayer is magic, but because it keeps your heart positioned for grace. And this prayer is not only about finances or success. It is about peace. It is about trust. It is about remembering that God is not distant, but near, that heaven is not silent, but active, that miracles are not rare, but constant for those who remain open. There is something powerful about a person who walks with quiet faith. You can sense it in their presence. They do not beg life to be kind. They expect it. They do not panic when storms come. They carry calm in their spirit. They know that whatever comes, they will not face it alone. That is who you are becoming. A man from Houston once told me his story. For years he struggled financially. Then he started this prayer journey. His situation did not change overnight, but he did. He said, "I stopped chasing money. I started seeking peace. When I found peace, the money followed. That is divine order. Faith shifts your inner world first. Then your outer world aligns with it. If you want to keep this transformation alive, do not just pray for what you need. Thank God for what you already have. Gratitude is what keeps the door open. Gratitude is what keeps miracles flowing. The truth is, miracles are all around you already. The right people, the right moments, the strength to keep going. These are miracles too. You have survived things that should have broken you. You have endured nights that felt endless. You are still here, still breathing, still trying, still believing, and that alone is proof of grace. But this is only the beginning. The prayer that brought you this far is meant to carry you further. Continue reciting it, not out of desperation, but out of connection, out of love, out of trust. And as you move forward, stay open. Stay open to learning. Stay open to receiving. Stay open to unexpected blessings. Stay open to the ways God can move in your life that you could never predict. Faith is not about controlling the outcome. It is about trusting the journey. If this message has touched your heart today, hold on to it. Let it sink in. Let it warm you. Let it guide you. And if you want to continue this journey of daily faith, daily peace, and daily spiritual strength, stay connected with the Daily Jesus Message. Every day, you will receive words and prayers that keep your heart anchored in hope and your spirit aligned with abundance. You are stepping into a new chapter now, one where the impossible begins to move, one where doors open without force, one where peace becomes your foundation, one where miracles become your normal. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when the blessings you have been praying for begin to whisper that they are on their way. You may not see them clearly yet, but you can feel something shifting. The air feels lighter. The world looks softer. Your heart feels calmer. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice says, "It is happening." This moment is sacred because it is the first proof that heaven has heard you. Most people expect miracles to arrive like thunder, loud and impossible to miss. They imagine sudden breakthroughs, dramatic answers. Oh, instant, change. But the truth is far different. The greatest miracles often enter your life quietly, disguised as small moments that seem ordinary but carry divine significance. It might begin with a phone call from someone you thought had forgotten you, a message that arrives at the right moment, a check you were not expecting, a door that opens without effort, a conversation that suddenly leads to clarity, or maybe it is something deeper. You wake up one morning and realize the anxiety you carried for years is simply gone. The heaviness in your chest has lifted. The fear that once controlled your thoughts has loosened its grip. That is not coincidence. That is the sound of faith becoming real. When you pray consistently, especially with the Forbidden Lord's Prayer, your life begins to align with divine timing. Things that were stuck begin to move. Delays start to dissolve. People who were not meant to stay drift away. And those who carry blessings for you begin to appear. Faith rearranges your reality without asking for permission. If you have been walking through this journey, praying each day, believing even when your eyes see nothing, then listen carefully. Your miracle has already begun. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, one of the most common things people tell me after practicing this prayer is that they start noticing signs everywhere. They see repeating numbers. They feel peace in situations that used to scare them. They meet the right people at the exact right time. They experience conversations that lead to unexpected opportunities. A man from Chicago once wrote to me, saying, "After I started the 7-day prayer, I began to notice things I used to ignore. Everything flowed easier. People I had never met before began helping me. I stopped forcing things. I started trusting." On the 7th day, he received an email confirming a job he applied for months earlier, a job he had already given up on. He said, "The strange part is, I was not surprised. Deep down, I already knew something good was coming." That is what happens when faith becomes part of your identity. You stop chasing. You start expecting, not from arrogance, but from alignment. Faith transforms you from the inside out. You no longer pray from fear. You pray from certainty. You do not ask whether God can. You simply trust that He will. If you have stayed with this journey from the beginning, you already feel the shift. Maybe your heart is calmer. Maybe you have hope again. Maybe you feel ready for what once terrified you. That readiness is not a mistake. It is preparation, because before God delivers blessings, He prepares the vessel that will carry them. And you, my friend, are being prepared. Let me share a story I will never forget. A woman once wrote to me saying she had been praying this same prayer for months. She did not pray for money. She prayed for peace. For the first few weeks, nothing seemed to change. Her bills were still due. Her problems were still there. But one morning, she woke up and realized she was no longer afraid. She checked her mailbox later that day and found a letter telling her a debt had been forgiven. She said, "The real miracle was not the letter. The real miracle was that I felt peace even before I opened it." That is the secret of miracles. They happen inside you before they happen around you. When your heart finds peace, the world begins to reflect that peace back to you. When your spirit finds trust, opportunities begin to flow. When your mind stops resisting, blessings start arriving. Right now, you must hold on to the signs, even the small ones. A calm breath, a moment of clarity, a gentle sense of hope, a night of good sleep after months of worry. These are not small things. These are the beginnings. But do not stop here. Too many people quit just when heaven begins to move. They expect fireworks and miss the whispers. They expect instant miracles and overlook the steps leading to them. They see a small blessing and think it is insignificant, not realizing it is the seed of something greater. Your job now is simple. Stay open. Stay open to the unexpected message. Stay open to the right person entering your life. Stay open to the opportunity that feels too good to be true. Stay open to a new direction you never considered. Faith is not about predicting how God will bless you. It is about trusting that He will, even in ways you did not imagine. If you ever feel your faith slipping, go back to the beginning. Replay the prayer. Close your eyes. Say it slowly. Let the words wash over you like light. See the light filling the room around you. Feel it touching your skin, your mind, your heart. Let it remind you of what is already happening. Every prayer you have spoken has been heard. Every tear you have cried has been seen. Every moment you chose faith over fear has been counted. Nothing has been wasted. Even the delays have purpose. Even the detours are part of the plan. Even the heartbreaks have shaped your spirit into someone who can carry the blessing prepared for you. If you have been asking for a sign, this is your sign. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are right where you need to be. And something is already unfolding for you. But do not walk away from this moment. Do not let life distract you from what God is doing. Stay connected. Stay grounded. Stay close to faith. And if you want a place where your spirit can be nurtured every day, where you can continue growing in faith, healing, and strength, I invite you to stay connected with Daily Jesus Message. Each prayer, each reflection, each message will help keep your heart aligned with peace and your spirit open to abundance. There is a moment right before the sun rises, when the sky is still dark, but everything feels different. You can sense light even before it appears. You can feel warmth even before it touches the horizon. It is the quiet signal that dawn is coming. And right now, you are standing in that spiritual moment. The night of your life is ending. A new light is beginning. For days, you have been praying. For nights, you have been whispering words of faith. Even when doubt pressed against your chest, you kept going when it felt pointless. You kept believing when nothing seemed to change. You kept saying the prayer even when your heart felt heavy. And now, the atmosphere around you has shifted, not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly. This is the moment when heaven begins to answer. People often expect answered prayers to arrive like thunder. Loud, explosive, unmistakable. But heaven rarely moves that way. Most of the time, answered prayers enter your life the same way the morning light enters a room. Soft, gentle, quiet, but unstoppable. One by one, pieces begin to fall into place. The email you have been waiting for arrives. The opportunity you thought you lost returns to you. A person you never expected offers help. A bill gets paid. A door opens. A path clears. And at the center of all of it, you notice something even more miraculous. You feel peace. A peace you have not felt in months. A peace that makes no sense logically. A peace that simply is. That peace is heaven's signature. It is the evidence that God is moving. Because the Forbidden Lord's Prayer does more than open doors, it opens your heart. It resets your spirit. It aligns you with God's timing instead of your fear. When you spoke that prayer, you were not asking for something small. You were inviting heaven into your situation. You were declaring that you trust God more than your circumstances. You were stepping into alignment with abundance. And heaven always responds to alignment. You may not understand how or when, but you can feel the change. Your heart beats differently. Your thoughts feel lighter. Your days feel calmer. The same problems that terrified you last month do not control you now, because heaven has already begun its work. Let me tell you a story. A man from New York wrote to me a few months ago. He had prayed the Forbidden Lord's Prayer for 7 days. His marriage was ending. His business was falling apart. His hope was slipping away. On the 3rd day of praying, nothing changed. On the 5th day, he felt numb. But on the 7th day, something incredible happened. He woke up feeling free. Not free from his problems, free from fear. He said, "My circumstances did not change instantly, but my heart did. And because my heart changed, everything else followed." 3 weeks later, a new partnership appeared out of nowhere. His business began to recover. His life gained direction again. And it all began the moment he stopped trying to save himself and allowed God to step in. This is what divine alignment looks like. It is not always immediate, but it is always perfect. And the same power that moved in his life is moving in yours. You may not be able to trace every detail yet, but trust this: God is already arranging the path ahead. Every quiet moment, every whisper of peace, every subtle shift is heaven telling you, "I am here." You do not have to force anything anymore. You do not have to fight every battle alone. You do not have to worry about doors that closed or opportunities that slipped away, because what is meant for you will return. What is assigned to you cannot be taken away. What is prepared for you will arrive in its season. You may begin to notice small things first. A delayed bill gets extended. Someone unexpectedly offers help. A person from the past reaches out. A conversation opens a new possibility. These are not accidents. These are answers. But one thing is important. Do not let fear rush you out of this moment. When heaven starts to move, the enemy attacks your mind with doubt. He whispers, "It is too good to be true. Nothing will change. You are just imagining this." But those are lies designed to pull you back into fear, because when heaven answers, fear loses its power. This is why, in this moment, you must protect your peace. Guard your mind. Guard your heart. Guard your focus. Do not allow negativity, fear, or doubt to steal the seeds of faith planted inside you. Remember this truth. God is not a God of confusion. He is a God of clarity, of timing, of purpose. If something has recently ended in your life, do not see it as loss. See it as clearing space for what is coming. If a door closed, maybe it was too small for the blessing prepared for you. If someone walked away, Maybe they were not meant to carry the next chapter of your life. Heaven answers in many ways, sometimes through restoration, sometimes through redirection, sometimes through release, but all of it is protection. A woman from Boston once told me that when she prayed this prayer, she expected money. Instead, she received clarity. She realized she was in a relationship that drained her spirit. 2 days later, she made a decision she had been avoiding for years. And once she let go, opportunities began to pour in. She said, "I thought I was losing something, but I was actually being freed." That is how heaven moves, not by giving you what you want, but by giving you what will set you free. Right now, heaven is answering you, not because you were perfect, not because your faith never wavered, but because you opened your heart. Every time you whispered the prayer, every time you chose trust over fear, every time you held on when nothing made sense, you built a bridge between your faith and God's plan. Now you are standing on that bridge. The worst is behind you. The shift is here, and the blessing is on its way. If you feel peace right now, treasure it. If you feel clarity, listen to it. If you feel calm for the first time in a long time, embrace it. These are the answers. And if you want to keep this peace alive, do not disconnect from the source of it. Do not walk away when heaven has just begun to move. Stay connected, stay anchored, stay covered in faith. If you need a place to continue growing, healing, and strengthening your spirit each day, I invite you to stay connected with Daily Jesus Message. Each message will help protect your peace, feed your faith, and guide you into the next season of your blessing. There comes a point in your spiritual journey when you realize something profound. You are no longer the person you used to be. The fear that once guided your decisions no longer has the same grip. The anxiety that used to linger in every corner of your mind has softened. The heaviness you carried for months, maybe even years, has begun to lift. You may not be able to explain the shift, but you can feel it. You are entering a new season, a season where God is not only answering your prayers, but preparing you to carry what you once thought you were unworthy of. A season where things that once seemed impossible begin to feel natural. A season where you no longer chase blessings, because blessings begin to move toward you. The truth is, every journey has a turning point, a moment when the past loosens its hold and the future begins to take shape. Most people do not recognize it when it happens, because it rarely arrives with dramatic signs. It comes softly, like a change in the wind. You wake up one morning and something feels different. You do not know exactly what changed, but peace sits more comfortably in your heart. Hope feels easier to carry. Your mind is clearer. Your soul feels lighter. This is not random. This is preparation. Before God moves you into a new season, He prepares your heart to receive it. Before He releases blessings, He strengthens your spirit. Before He opens new doors, He helps you close old ones. You may have noticed that in recent days, things from your past have surfaced. Old emotions, old fears, old relationships, old memories. This is not the enemy attacking you. This is God helping you release what you were never meant to carry into the next season. Because you cannot step into the new while holding on to the old. Your hands must be open. Your heart must be free. Your spirit must be ready. Think about it. You prayed for breakthrough. You prayed for a new beginning. You prayed for abundance. But to receive those things, you had to change internally first. You cannot walk into a season of abundance with a mindset of scarcity. You cannot step into a season of peace while holding on to old wounds. You cannot receive new blessings while clinging to fear. This inner shift you are feeling is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning. Let me tell you something important. Most people sabotage their blessings not because they are unworthy, but because they are unprepared. They receive an opportunity, but are too afraid to take it. They meet the right person, but still carry the wounds of their past. They receive a financial breakthrough, but still operate from a mindset of lack. But you are different. Your preparation has already begun. Over the past days, as you have prayed, listened, reflected, and remained open, something sacred has been unfolding inside you. Your mind is shifting. Your heart is healing. Your belief is growing. Your confidence is awakening. This is what stepping into a new season feels like. It does not come with fireworks. It comes with clarity. It comes with calm. It comes with a subtle but undeniable knowing that something greater is approaching. A man from Arizona once told me that after he prayed the Forbidden Lord's Prayer for several days, he felt an overwhelming clarity inside him. He said, "I could not explain it, but I suddenly felt ready for blessings I used to doubt I deserved." Before anything around him changed, something inside him transformed. And only after that transformation did opportunities begin to show up. That is divine order. The inner shift always comes before the outer blessing. If you feel change happening inside you, even if your life still looks the same on the outside, do not ignore it. This is your spirit aligning with your blessing. This is your heart aligning with your purpose. This is your future beginning to unfold. But stepping into a new season requires one thing: awareness. You must be aware of what God is doing, so you do not miss the signs. You must be aware so you can recognize the new doors that open. You must be aware so you can say yes to the opportunities meant for you. You must be aware so you do not fall back into old patterns. This is the moment to pay attention. Listen closely to what your heart is telling you. Notice the ideas that come to your mind. Pay attention to the people who begin to enter your life. Observe the small confirmations around you. You may receive a message that feels like encouragement. You may stumble upon a phrase that speaks directly to your heart. You may hear a song that reminds you of something important. You may notice a conversation that answers a question you had silently asked God. These small moments are not random. They are signposts, guidance, direction. Every new season begins with signs. But here is something you must understand. Not every door is meant to be opened. Not every person is meant to stay. Not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. This is why spiritual discernment is important. You must learn to feel the difference between what is meant for you and what simply distracts you. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the more distractions will appear. Distractions in the form of old habits, old relationships, old fears, old patterns. If these things show up now, it is not to pull you backward. It is to test whether you are ready to move forward. Your old season wants one last chance to pull you back. Do not let it. You have worked too hard. You have prayed too deeply. You have healed too much. You have grown too far to return to who you used to be. This moment is sacred. It marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Your spirit knows this. That is why you feel different. That is why peace has increased. That is why doubt has decreased. That is why you feel a quiet confidence rising inside you. This is what spiritual maturity feels like. This is what alignment feels like. This is what stepping into your new season feels like. And if you want to keep walking in this direction, if you want to continue strengthening your faith, if you want to stay aligned with God's timing and purpose, surround yourself with messages that lift your spirit. This is why I invite you to stay connected with Daily Jesus Message, not for routine, not for numbers, but for your soul. Each message is designed to keep your heart focused, your mind clear, and your faith strong as you move into what God has prepared for you. There is a moment in every person's life when everything shifts. It does not come with fireworks or loud announcements. It does not arrive with applause or celebration. It comes quietly. Like a breath of wind passing through an open window, you only recognize it later. When you look back and say, "That was the moment my life changed." You are standing in that moment right now. You may not fully feel it yet. You may not fully understand it yet. But something inside you knows this truth. You are not who you used to be, and you cannot go back to the person you were. Something in you has awakened. Something in you has strengthened. Something in you has begun to grow toward a future you once thought was impossible. This is what it feels like when destiny begins to turn. For so long, you may have felt stuck in routines, stuck in fear, stuck in financial struggle, stuck in emotional exhaustion, stuck in a place where your soul felt confined. You prayed for change, but change felt distant. You hoped for breakthrough, but breakthrough felt slow. You believed in miracles, but miracles felt hidden. And yet, slowly, quietly, beneath the surface of your life, God was preparing something for you, something you could not see, something you were not ready for until now. Destiny does not turn when circumstances change. Destiny turns when you change. And over the past days, through prayer, reflection, and faith, you have changed. Your spirit has shifted. Your mindset has grown. Your heart has opened. Your faith has strengthened. This inner transformation is not accidental. It is the foundation for the future that is coming. Before God brings a new season, He prepares the person who will walk into it. Before He places a blessing in your hands, He prepares your heart to carry it. Before He opens the door, He makes sure you are strong enough to step through it. This is why your destiny is turning now. You are ready. Ready in ways you were not before. Ready in ways you did not notice. Ready in ways your past self would not believe. You may feel it in subtle ways. You worry less. You trust more. You breathe easier. You wake up with expectation instead of fear. You sense that something is shifting, even if you cannot explain it. These feelings are not imagination. They are signs. Signs that heaven has begun to move things into place. Signs that old cycles are breaking. Signs that new doors are preparing to open. Signs that the things meant for you are drawing closer. A woman from California once told me that after praying this prayer series, she felt something strange. She could no longer think the way she used to. Fearful thoughts no longer made sense. Worry no longer felt natural. Negativity felt out of place. She said, "I feel like my mind stepped into a new room, and the old one is locked behind me." That is destiny turning. When your inner world no longer fits the limitations of your past. But stepping into destiny requires one thing: surrender. Not surrender as in giving up. Not surrender as in accepting defeat. Surrender as in trusting the path, even when you cannot see every step. This is how true spiritual alignment works. You let go of what you cannot control. You release the outcome. You stop forcing what is not meant for you. You trust that God knows what you do not. And then, as you surrender, something incredible happens. Your destiny begins to move in ways you never expected. People appear that you never imagined meeting. Opportunities arrive that you did not seek. Paths open that were once blocked. Ideas flow that you had forgotten. Strength rises that you thought was gone. This is not coincidence. This is calling. This is purpose unfolding. This is destiny turning. But here is a truth many people overlook. Destiny does not turn because of one big prayer. Destiny turns because of daily alignment. Small acts of faith, quiet moments of trust, whispers of belief, and the willingness to keep walking even when the road is uncertain. This is what you have been doing. Every time you listened, every time you prayed, every time you chose faith over fear, you turned the wheel of your destiny one more degree. And now, here you are, standing in a moment where the direction of your life is shifting. A new chapter is beginning. A new path is unfolding. A new season is calling your name. But as destiny turns, you must let go of two things: your past and your fear. Your past cannot guide you anymore. Your fear cannot protect you anymore. What lies ahead requires boldness, trust, and a heart willing to believe that better is not just possible, but promised. Let me tell you something you may not have realized. You survived things that were meant to destroy you. You endured storms that could have broken you. You carried burdens that others never saw. You walked through nights that felt endless, but you kept going. You kept believing. You kept praying. That strength did not come from luck. It came from God. And that same strength is now pulling you toward your new season. Destiny begins to turn the moment you stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "God, I trust you with what comes next." That shift changes everything. Doors you thought were locked begin to open. People who doubted you begin to admire you. Ideas you ignored begin to inspire you. Strength you forgot returns to you. Peace you prayed for surrounds you. And then, slowly but surely, your future reveals itself one step at a time. If you feel nervous about what comes next, that is normal. Every new chapter feels unfamiliar at first. But do not mistake unfamiliar for unsafe. Sometimes the safest place is the one you have never been before. The same God who carried you through your worst days will guide you into your best ones. But you cannot walk into this new season alone. Your faith must stay nourished. Your spirit must stay grounded. Your heart must stay aligned. This is why staying connected matters. This is why daily spiritual guidance matters. This is why the voice that lifts your faith must remain close. If you want support, prayer, and guidance as you walk into your destiny, stay connected with Daily Jesus Message. Not because you need it to be blessed, but because you deserve a place that strengthens the blessing God is giving you. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when everything becomes still, a moment when the rushing thoughts slow down, when the weight on your chest softens, when the noise of the world fades just enough for you to hear something deeper. It is not the sound of your mind, it is the voice of your spirit, and in that quiet voice, you hear a truth you almost forgot. You were created for more. If you are listening to these words now, take a slow breath. Let the air fill your lungs. Let the tension slip from your shoulders. Let your heart rest for a moment, because before anything else is said, I want you to know this. You made it, not just through this prayer series, not just through these long days of reflection, but through everything life has thrown at you. You made it through the doubts that tried to drown you. You made it through the financial storms that shook your confidence. You made it through the moments when you almost stopped believing. You made it through the nights when hope felt thin and answers felt far away. And now, here you stand, at the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of forever. When you first spoke the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you may not have known what would happen. You may not have believed every word. You may not have felt strong or certain. You may have even whispered it with trembling hands and a tired heart. But you said it anyway. And that simple choice changed everything. Because every time you speak words of faith, the atmosphere around your life shifts. Every time you whisper truth over your situation, heaven leans closer. Every time you choose trust instead of fear, something unseen begins to move. You may not have noticed it immediately, but your heart knew, your spirit felt it. Something inside you awakened. That awakening is not a moment. It is a rebirth, a new way of living, thinking, choosing, and believing. The person you are today is not the person who began this journey. You think differently now. You breathe differently now. You carry a quiet strength that cannot be shaken. Your eyes see hope where they used to see impossibility. Your spirit recognizes blessings where it once saw burdens. This is transformation. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep, steady, and powerful. When God changes a person, he often begins in silence. Not with thunder, but with peace. Not with miracles, but with clarity. Not with fireworks, but with a sense of inner certainty that does not make sense to the outside world. This is the work God has been doing inside you, preparing you, strengthening you, guiding you, calling you toward a future that is bigger than what you lost and brighter than what you feared. You are standing on holy ground right now, not because the room around you is special, but because your heart is open. That openness is what invites transformation. That openness is what allows blessing to flow. That openness is what shifts your entire destiny. But here is something important. Faith does not end when the prayer ends. Faith begins when the prayer ends. Because faith is not a moment. It is a rhythm, a way of walking, breathing, thinking, and choosing every single day. You have learned how to pray with intention. You have learned how to believe even when you cannot see. You have learned how to open your heart to God again. Now, the next step is learning how to live in this new faith. Living in faith means beginning each day with gratitude before the world tries to overwhelm you. It means refusing to let fear make decisions for you. It means trusting that God is working even when circumstances are silent. It means carrying peace into situations where peace seems impossible. It means choosing hope when hopelessness whispers the loudest. This is the life you are stepping into. A life not controlled by fear but guided by faith. A life not defined by lack, but aligned with divine provision. A life not shaped by past wounds, but built on new strength. But let me share a truth that many people overlook. Faith needs community. Even the strongest believer needs a place to return to, a place that lifts them, a place that reminds them of who they are, a place that feeds their spirit when life tries to drain it. This is why spiritual community exists. This is why daily messages, prayer, and reflection matter, because the world is loud. Fear is loud. Worry is loud. But faith becomes stronger when it is fed consistently. If you have felt peace listening to these messages, if you have felt your spirit awaken through this journey, if something in you whispers that you do not want this transformation to fade, then I want to gently invite you to do something simple but meaningful. Stay connected. Not for me, for yourself, for your growth, for your peace, for your future. The Daily Jesus Message channel is not just a place to watch videos. It is a place where your spirit can breathe, a place where your faith can grow, a place where your heart can be reminded every day that God is near, that miracles still move, that hope is alive, and that you are never walking alone. Subscribing is not about numbers. It is about connection. It is about surrounding yourself with daily encouragement so that the peace you have found here does not slip away. It is about creating a rhythm of faith that strengthens you for everything God is bringing into your life next. Because this is not the end of your story. The miracle you experienced is not the final chapter. It is the opening page of a new book, a book filled with healing, a book filled with provision, a book filled with clarity. Because this is not the end of your story. A book filled with divine alignment. But to walk in that future, you must continue to nourish the faith that brought you this far. So as this chapter closes, take a deep breath. Feel the peace in your chest. Feel the strength in your spirit. Feel the hope rising again. And let one simple truth settle into your heart. You are guided. You are protected. You are provided for. You are never alone. Whenever life feels heavy, come back to this prayer. Come back to this peace. Come back to this place. Let your spirit rest in the presence that has carried you all along. This is your new beginning, your new chapter. Come back to this prayer. Come back to this place. Come back to this peace. You are protected. Take the next step. Stay connected. Stay grounded. Stay in the flow of faith. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message so you have a place to return to whenever you need strength, healing, encouragement, or simply a reminder that God is still writing your story, because what you have experienced here is not temporary. It is the beginning of forever.